to kind of remind you that it's okay to test in production, and when you do so, to please ask for some help. Get your colleagues, get your users to help you. You will be amazed to see how many people are willing to do that extra step for you. As Stoyan said, I'm currently working as front-end engineer at Full Image. We do something that's called waterfall enrichment. People come to us with this big file of name, company name, maybe LinkedIn URL, and we help them find professional email or the phone number for that person. In the past, I used to work as a front-end developer. I spent several years as a QA engineer at Proton and several other companies. It's been a fun career ride so far. Made a lot of mistakes, but no regrets. Okay. So today we're going to talk, first, a friendly reminder that what your QA team is testing is not always going to be the same as how the way your users will be using the web app. And then we're going to talk about how can we detect that, how we can respond, and all of the bad mistakes that I've made in the past and how you can avoid repeating them. Okay, so when I say that the QA is not the same as the user, it's because the QA team is going to test exactly what you described on your specs. If you say it's going to do ABC, the QA team is going to test ABC. And in this case, I found a short video of somebody, the QA team, in this case, testing an umbrella, and it follows exactly the same specs. You're supposed to have the umbrella to be able to open it. If it falls down, it shouldn't break, all the regular stuff. And then you have the users. And the users are going to do, they're going to look at the thing, and then they say, I believe this item should be used this way. If it works, that's perfect. You have a user for life. If it doesn't, they're going to go ahead and they're going to complain. Sometimes you can kind of guess the type of users, how they're going to behave, but that's not always the case. And I do have an example from the What Stack conference. For those of you who are part of the Beer.js server, you may know that Darko shared a URL. If you go to this page, you're going to get an extra point. And he shared that a few days ago in the morning. As soon as he shared that, several hours later, somebody posted this. If you open the URL, it's going to show you a JSON file, and it's going to have this piece of data. The important part is this. It has all of the achievements, all the URLs, and it didn't take too long for somebody to figure out that you can just collect all the points without chasing QR codes, without worrying all of the other stuff that the conference organizers would like you to do. I did a test. It works. But Darko says this is cheating. I do not agree with him, but it is what it is. Anyways, back to our topic. I said that you should test in production, but you should have a way for the users to give you some kind of feedback. For your team, you want to have a single source of truth, meaning a single system where I can log in, I can see the messages from the users, and I can respond to them. The people who use your product are not going to listen. If you give them an email, they will ask for chat. If you give them a chat, they will try to report a bug reports on Instagram. But your team is not, I don't know, personally, I don't like to have 5 open different tabs. Just correlating all of the support messages is much easier if I see it in one place. The other benefit of that is that you can do teamwork. If I see a backend issue, I can just tag that backend team and say, hey, this is wrong, please fix. And it's out of my way, I don't have to think about that. It also helps to kind of unify the tone of voice. Engineers usually don't get any kind of training for support, for stuff like that. And at least based on my experience, people have very, very different styles of communication. When I look at a ticket, I kind of assume that the user is correct. If they say something is broken, I will go ahead, I will go test it. If it's not broken, I will try the different variations. I assume that it's broken until proven otherwise. But I've also had the colleagues who assume that if the user said something is wrong, that's not the case. Our system is perfect. Must be the user's fault. So they would give the usual, like, the typical responses that you get from the support until we kind of figure out, oh, actually, they were correct. Let me investigate. The way you do this, at Full Enrich, we do it with Intercom. It could be Zendesk. It could be any other piece of software. And the cool part with this is that all of the conversations that you can get, you can just put them in the AI. Intercom has something called FinAI. It's able to automatically respond to the users, even resolve a lot of the questions. For us, about 30% of all of the user requests are resolved by Intercom. And if you have a good knowledge base, good support team, it can go much higher than that. The second thing that you should probably do is log every single piece of data. If you made a change of the database, it will be very helpful to have some kind of timestamp. We changed the email at this date, we updated the name at this date. It's not going to cost you a lot, but it's going to be very helpful when people start complaining. It's something similar for the API. You want to be able to see what's happening in real time, which user is calling which API. It doesn't have to be too long. You don't have to store this for, I don't know, a year, maybe 2 years back. It's enough to store it for a week or two, but you should be able to kind of know what's happening. On the front-end side, ideally, you will be able to see exactly how the user is interacting with the application. For us, this is something like post-hoc. Post-hoc is, we call it product analytics, but it's kind of like a spyware. I don't know how many of you remember back in 2018, there was like a big panic for several months when Facebook started tracking what users do. Every click, every mouse movement, all of that. Back then it was a problem. Now we just sell it as a software. Post-hoc is one of them. Grafana, Segment, those are for the API. Sentry is the place where you send all of the errors from the front end. You might not be able to see exactly what the user did, but you will be able to see the count of all the error messages and kind of see what's happening behind the scenes for those people that do not want to reach out to the support team. And Screen Desk is something that we use for people that might not be tech savvy. Sometimes I get somebody that's like, hey, your web app is broken. And I'm like, okay, cool. Can you send me a screenshot? Can you send me a video? And they vanish away. Or they say, I don't know how to do that. With Screen Desk, you can send them a link, and you can say, hey, open this link, click on the record button, and the web app will allow them to record the screen. They can turn on the mic, their camera. They have add-ons that can also record the network calls, the console logs, everything. And the user don't have to go to the trouble of doing the video recording and sharing it with you. They just have to click the link. So why do we do that? Obviously, it makes it easier to debug stuff when you break production. You don't want to do add log, deploy. You don't know what's happening, add more logs, do the deploy again. The other more important thing, at least to me, is that it's guarding against malicious feedback. If you're in B2C, sometimes people will not go to the support. They're going to go to the App Store. They're going to leave a bad feedback. And if you don't have logs, you will know that somebody complained about the app. You won't be able to figure out exactly what happened. Can be a big problem, especially in big companies. Like I've seen that in the marketing teams, they often have a special person whose only job is to take care of the negative reviews in the app stores. If you're in B2B, you kind of run against this interesting use case of you sell to the executive level, and you have a case where somebody, let's say a director, goes to a team and says, hey guys, starting from tomorrow, we're going to use this software. In an ideal case, most people of the team are going to like it. They will start using it. But there's always that one user who's like, I do not like this. They're going to open the app. They're going to click two buttons, and they're going to say, hey, this one is broken. We can't use it. You sold to somebody who didn't use the software. They asked your team for feedback, and somebody on the team said, this thing is broken. If you don't have the logs, it's going to be really hard to see what happened. Because usually, like, I just ran across this case like 2 weeks ago. We had the exact same case. Sales team went to the executive level, sold the product. They had a small team, tested the product, and one of the people said, hey, it doesn't work. We asked them why. Can you tell us, like, what did you do? What happened? What did you expect to happen? And the feedback we got was, I tried it, doesn't work. If it wasn't for the post hoc and all of the other logs, I believe we would have lost the sales. The other fun part is you have the logs, but they're kind of hard to navigate. And if you don't, the logs are hard to navigate, and if you don't have a clear error messages, a lot of the feedback from the users will be, hey, this is broken. I faced this earlier this year. We had an extension for Google Chrome, for LinkedIn. You were able to go to a LinkedIn profile, click a button, and we will find you a phone and an email. And for the first 3 weeks, we did not have this like small part with the version here. And every single person who complained to the support that, hey, this thing doesn't work, this thing is broken, we had the same conversation. Okay, hi, thank you for reporting this. Can you tell me which version of the extension you have on your device? Some of them were nice. They knew how to open Chrome/extensions to tell me what's happening. A lot of them did not. And we were kind of trying to debug blindly, figure out what's happening, but it was really, really hard and painful. And this is especially the case with a Chrome extension, because unlike the web app, I'm not allowed to put something like post hoc. I'm not allowed to record the user what they're doing. I'm only able to rely on what they say or any kind of screenshots or screen recordings that the user provides. The other helpful thing in these cases is to also add stuff like the browser version, the US, anything that helps you figure out what environment is running. If you can, use unique error messages. And if you have something that you don't want to tell to the user, don't be afraid to invent error codes. People are going to say, if they see an error, they're going to say, hey, I saw this and this error. And if they see a code or a number, they will tell you the exact number that they see. It takes only like 2-second search in a code base to find out what and how it failed. Okay, so by now we have all of the logs, all the feedback, all of the cool stuff. Question is, what do we do with it? Feedback is cool, but it's also helpful to see how users do interact with this. If you have all of the logs, it's very helpful, at least in my experience, to track how the users interact with product. Track the activation rate, see how people play with it. Do they click all of the buttons? Do they stay on the same screen for 3 or 5 minutes? How do they interact? If you're able to, you can also offer them some free stuff in exchange for a feedback. That one always works. And of course, don't be afraid to ignore some of the feedback. You can't win everybody. I talked about logs, I talked about analytics, and this is the part where you just can't win. I try to, at least we try to, have a central place for people to come and report issues, but there will always be somebody who likes to jump ahead. sometimes it's somebody from sales who said, hey, I have X and Y customer, they have this issue, can you help them? And you ask for, can you tell me what's the browser? Can you send me a screen recording? And they get nothing, or maybe they don't know how to do it. Sometimes you have people from other teams that maybe are not well equipped to debug your part of the web app. I've seen especially my weak side is debugging the backend. I can see clearly that the issue happened on the API side. How did it happen? What data do I need? I just usually ping somebody on the backend team. And likewise, I have several members of my backend team that they're going to see an error message and they try to reason with the user, hey, do this, do that, instead of pick somebody on the front-end team and gather more data. If you have a dedicated place, you can kind of smooth out these interactions. You can teach others how to debug, and you can learn from others. It's hard to kind of imagine all of the edge cases, all the things that are going to happen ahead of time. But if you do a little bit of teamwork, you're gonna do the right thing. The other fun stuff is there will be cases where you won't be able to get what you need. I was very surprised for the first time when I saw that on some enterprises, people just don't have developer console at all. I did not know that's possible until somebody did a screen recording. It showed me, hey, I do not have this console tab on my browser. I had web browsers that were stuck for several years with older versions. People were happy to do a screen recording to try to upgrade their browsers, and we kind of end up with the same thing. Hey, could you go to Google Chrome, go to About, try to upgrade your browser? They do that, and what they see is unknown error, and that's it. So, yes, there will be a bug or two that you just can't get enough info and that you can fix. And that's okay. You can't please everyone. That's why we have ideal customer profile. We want to help the users that are kind of the best fit for what we do. If they try to use the wrong way, I'm sorry, maybe go to one of our competitors, maybe try something different, maybe read the docs. I don't know. You can't fix everybody, and the sooner you learn this lesson, the better it will be. I know that I've spent too many times chasing bugs that happened only to one user, or maybe happened to only one very, very specific edge case. It's not worth it. And with that being said, I believe that's the end.